just in time for another uplifting, inspiring episode of Entrepreneurs Lounge. As usual, we're shooting at Daughter's Home and Exclusive Furniture in Westlands on Parklands Road. Now, my next guest is a star behind the stars, Managing Director, Kaka Empire, which deals with the business of music, Dennis Njenga. You're very welcome, Dennis.
Thank you for having me.
So you're the one?
Yes, I'm the
You're those people behind the scenes?
Yes,
you're the one behind names such as?
King Kaka, Femi One, Kaka Empire. Yes.
So Kaka Empire, besides making stars out of already stars, what do you do?
So Kaka Empire mainly deals with music management and brand management. We have very well-known brands that have worked through us. The current artist that we are working with right now is King Kaka, Femi One. We have Owago Nyiro, stand-up comedian. And then we have a new crop of, we call them the young face of Kaka Empire, called the Empire's Growth, which is composed of two ladies, that is Bridget Blue and Laika Rose, and then a boy band called Jadi.
As in, for a music manager, I would have expected a different look. You've really pleasantly surprised me. However, when we talk about the music business in Kenya, is it big business? What would you say about like the business that you're into right now? How is it doing in the country?
The music business is big. The recent audit by Deloitte, I think a year ago, put our industry at about $1 billion. So the music business is a very profitable business. The only thing is you need to treat it in a professional way. So that is what we do. We've not had a successful music management company in Kenya that manages artists. That has been there for years. So when we started, we didn't have a structure or mentors or a business to look up to. We created our own structures, yes.
When you speak about the professional management of it, and also you mentioned these big brands, you keep talking about like music management of the brands. What goes into what? What exactly do you do to put the stars to where they are?
Okay, so we treat the stars or the brands as products. So as any normal product, there are a few things you need to put in place. For example, we have a large team behind the brand. So we have someone who takes care of PR. We have someone who takes care of communication. We have a tours manager. We have an accountant and finance head. We have an operations manager. We have a studio manager. So there's so many things. As you sell a product, when you see a product in a shelf in a supermarket, there's so many things that have been put in place to ensure it's there. Branding, marketing the same, communicating to the clients, producing the production bit of the product. Yeah, so there's a lot of things to do.
So how do you source for your clients? Because when you look at the music industry, it's big. Genres, the kind of music someone does, the beats. So what do you look out for, or do you just randomly go on looking for people with talent?
Okay, so just to answer your question in a different way, there are three ways an artist or a brand makes their money or their income. One is through what we call streaming and royalties. Number two is through shows and gigs, when they do live performances and such. And then number three is through endorsements. Now, for the three areas I've mentioned, there are different ways used to target them. One, when it comes to streaming and downloads and royalties, we just produce and distribute the music. For shows and live performances, we ensure that the way we communicate or the image that is portrayed outside to the customers who listen to music, who are our audience, makes them want to also watch us live in performances. Number three is endorsements. For endorsements, there are two ways. One, we knock on doors. So I'll come to you and tell you, listen, I have a brand called King Kaka. I want you to have him as your face of your company. We'll do the proposals, we pitch, defend, we get the endorsement.
So going back to Kaka Empire, how did it come into existence? How did you think about, coming up with a music management company? Okay,
so as my title, as for my title, I'm the managing partner. So I have a partner, and the partner is King Kaka. So we were in the same high school, Isili Boys, and we were despots. And at that point, I was also an artist and I was doing music. But it reached a point I told him, no, listen, this is not for me. So let me just run the business. So it came out of a vision of helping, or rather creating a platform for upcoming artists who can treat their brands in a professional way. We started about 11 years ago, but we've been actively in business for about 7 years. Yeah, and that's how we started Kaka Empire.
So how do you promote your business then?
Normal ways promoting, one of our key areas is social media, because that's how we interact with our audiences the much. Number two is through the normal media, print, radio, TV. And also we do a lot of networking, which is very key to what we do. So we attend a lot of events, a lot of corporate events, networking events, yes.
So away from the roles that you mentioned that you do, brand management, even image management, I'm Ingrid Nantege. I'm really, really passionate about music. I would like to get in touch with these artists. What qualities, what attributes does a music manager, someone like you, must they have before they go into this industry?
Okay, so there's one qualification that you need to have before I take you in. And the question I normally ask artists to come to me and ask me, I am doing music, I have a song that I've recorded, an album. How can we work together? Is I ask them, what am I going to manage, right? As an artist, yes, you may have an album, you may have even 100 songs recorded, but what will I manage? Are you performing in gigs already? Are you having 1,000+ downloads? So if you qualify for that, now the next step is I look at three things. One, you need to be very, very disciplined. Discipline in a way of how you conduct your life and your brand and your music. Number two is patience, because of the business you're in, we're in a business that takes time for it to mature. The number three now, it's talent. Yeah, please note that I've started with discipline, patience, then talent. So you may be talented, but you lack the two core values of discipline and patience. Yeah.
So when you look at some countries, especially in the West, when it comes down to this whole management thing in the music industry, they have it down. However, in some countries in Africa, it's a concept that's not fully understood. What has been your experience working in the Kenyan industry as a music manager? Okay,
so the challenge, I can put it as a challenge. The challenge that we had is, as I mentioned at the beginning, is we've not really had management companies that have clear structures. We don't have the Sonys and the Universal groups in Kenya. And again, our industry is very unique. So the things that work in the Western countries don't work here. So in return, we've managed to create our own structure on how we work. For example, one key thing that we managed to create is goodwill with corporates, big companies that are able to support the art. Because before some years back, companies were not promoting the art. They actually looked at an artist or a brand like a by the way, something that we don't really need, but because people are asking for it, let's bring him or her. So we've tried our best to create that structure and show them, listen, we're in business and we can actually conduct this in a very professional way. Yes.
Before going into Kaka Empire, have you tried your handouts at employment? What's your experience and how did you finally end up in, doing what you're doing right now?
So the funniest thing is I've actually been employed for 8 years before. My first job, I got employed when I was 19. So I worked for 4 years as a banker and then another 4 years in the insurance industry.
Wow, yeah. Very serious field.
Yes. And that's now the experience I got from those industries have actually helped me a lot in terms of setting good structures for my company. Yeah.
So what have been your greatest lessons going through this 11 years? Because you've mentioned you've been doing Kaka Empire for 11
yes.
years. Like, what have been your greatest lessons over time that you feel are very, very handy in where you are right now even?
One lesson that is very important is persistence, humility, and patience. As an entrepreneur, entrepreneurship is very hard. I will not lie to you and tell you it's a bed of roses where you start today and become a millionaire tomorrow. It is very hard. It is a hard journey. The only thing you need to be persistent, and endurance also is very key. And know that things will fall into place with time, as long as you work hard and keep on doing it each and every day.
What's been your greatest achievement, where you felt like this is it, this is what I'm doing this for?
I've not yet reached my greatest achievement, but from the brands that I've worked with, some are not with me right now or with the company. The contracts either lapsed or we broke them down. Some of them are with us, and I think our work speaks for itself. I've worked with very well-known brands, and I've built brands from scratch to where they are today.
Just to be foresighted, what's your vision for Kaka Empire? where do you see yourself 5 years from now? What's the target at the moment?
So there are two things I'm very passionate about in terms of the vision we have for the company. One is to create a platform where the young upcoming youth or upcoming artists can get, and learn from. Whether you want to venture into music business or just as an artist to do music and acting or comedy or anything like that. My other vision is to have the company well known in East and Central Africa. So in the next, not 10 years, but as per my plan and goals, in the next 7.5 years, we'll have the brand well known in East and Central Africa.
So we've seen situations where like the music industry in Kenya, in Uganda, in the region has been plagued with that competition, which sometimes becomes unhealthy because then it creates beef, then it just creates this rivalry. Have you experienced that in Kenya, and how have you, managed to manage that while still remaining professional in what you do?
So beef is healthy for the industry because at least it gives the media and the blog something to talk about you, and also gives the fans something to look up to, like what next from this guy. But again, once you're able to treat your brands or your business in a professional manner, you'll rarely have beefs. Yeah, because people more respect you than compete with you. Yes.
Thank you very much. We have to take a quick break. Now that's Dennis Njenga, the managing director of Kaka Empire, who's in the business of music and managing big brands in the industry. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Now my next guest took advantage of the latest craze, the living healthy, just eating right, getting in shape to start her next business, and is the current CEO of Forever Healthy. With me, I have Goodness Jemimah. I'm very excited to have you here today, Goodness. Forever Healthy, what's it about?
Well, this is a company that deals with basically, it's in the health and beauty industry. We're in a world where everyone wants to look good and feel good, no matter what age, right? So, and this is something that will never end. I mean, it will never stop. Right. Yes, so ideally, it's basically a company that helps people look good and feel good.
So Goodness, when we talk about making people feel good, away from preying on the fact that people always want to look good, always want to look young, how exactly, specifically do you achieve this?
All right, so we consult, we basically help to recommend health and beauty products. We partner with a company that produces aloe vera health and beauty products. And because we use the products, we don't just recommend products that we don't know about. And of course, we have done our research to ensure that it's the best and it offers the best, of course, out of using them. Then we get to recommend to other people who get to also get to use them.
How did this business idea come to you?
One of my friends one day invited me to just a time when I attended a presentation that they're talking about the craze of the businesses that usually will stand in the next because once you want to venture into business, you have to check which industry and why and what's the opportunity for growth in future years. So I think it was the health and wellness industry, and so. Having looked at it, and I mean, everyone wants to look good. I too want to look good. Same to you. So I was like, why not start this? And ideally, because the good thing with the company that I partner with, you just need to get to understand the products that they have, and they offer trainings where you're able to learn about the products. You're able to, and everything is laid bare. So you can check their website, you can even visit their offices, the places where they plant the aloe vera. All these things were so plain. So I was like, why not get to venture into this? And because I had the company that produces the product is already a brand in itself. So people know about it. So once I'm presenting something that's also known, it's not like something new, it's easier to break into the market. So that's why I decided to, venture into that. And I think also, why business? Because I think I was a bit tired of the what do you call it, the rat race of the corporate world. Although I didn't stay at it too long, but all the same, I love the time freedom. And of course, business is not easy, but I think I love the things and the person I have become out of being in business. Yes.
Now, goodness, let's talk about the product range, because when people think of Forever Healthy, or maybe just like health products, or they might think of skincare, they might think of maybe they'll give me supplements for my health. When I come to you, yes, it's a lot more than that. It's a bit mental too, right? When I come to you, what's your product range? What am I going to get out of you?
All right. So we have around 5 categories. We have the aloe vera drinks, which are very good for the digestive health, and all the same. Beauty starts from inside out. So you can apply as much as you want on the outside, but it starts from inside. So that's why we have the aloe vera drinks, and of course, all these have international seals of approval. Then we also have supplements. Ideally, in the world we live nowadays, we do not have, it's not like it was in the past. There's so much pollution. The process through which foods get to us, there's a lot of compromise. And so ideally, even if you eat food or you cook it, sometimes you overcook, so you're not able to get the nutrients. So ideally, we need something that helps to bridge the gap. So that's why we have the supplements. Then we also have bee products. Bee products are also very, very good. We have honey, we have propolis, and all these are natural products, all natural. We don't just, the companies and test the products on animals. So all natural. And then we have personal care products every day, from what the toothpaste you use, whatever you apply, the deodorant, all natural. The lotions that you use, all that, so personal care. Then you have skincare products. And in skincare products, you have products that ideally address some key things on the skin. But then apart from that, we also have regimes. So that makes the 5th. And then we also have the weight management. Now that's another huge industry. Of course, they say out of every 5 East African, we have 2 who are obese, or is it 3, something like that. So that's an area that...
Curvy or obese, there's a thin line.
Yeah, but ideally, so people want to maintain, especially for women, for women and even men, right. So that's also now that makes the 5th category. Although the 5th category involves many of the other things, because it has aloe vera drinks, it has supplements, and all that.
So how long have you been in business? And I want you also to talk to me about your journey from where you started to where you are now.
All right, I'll say maybe around 4 years. All the same, in the current industry I'm at for 2 years now. But I'd say one of the things that I started business in campus, when I was in campus. But at that time, I think the idea of, okay, what more can I get apart from what my parents give me? Because it means you're kind of tied to whatever they give you, so you really can't do much more besides that. So my sister, who deals with curios, I think introduced me to the jewelry industry. So I did that for some time when I was in campus, which was actually very good. But then when I was doing my 4th year, I was not able to be very consistent, so I dropped that. Then when I finished campus, that was in 2016, of course going through internships. I'm a hotelier by profession. So once I finished in 2017, around March. Before then, I think I was just feeling, the schedules at work and all that. So I was like, wow, I need a break. So in the process of that, a friend had introduced me to now what I'm currently doing. So that's when I decided to give it a shot. And so once I started, it was good. I was like, why not do this? I don't remember going, the way you write CVs, apply for jobs. I didn't do that. And of course, it has been a journey. Business is not easy, and especially, of course, people advise, work as you also do this. But I was just convinced that I think I just don't want to go into the corporate world. So it's been a journey, 2 years now, growing, and I'm grateful.
You mentioned something that's very critical that I feel like many young people need to understand, even as they embark on this entrepreneurship journey, which is business is not easy. Now, what have been some of the key lessons that you've drawn on this adventure, on this journey? Like, what have been your greatest lessons?
Well, I think key I would start by saying is understand where you are. because, you know, especially with social media and especially after finishing campus, everyone's like, you're either getting married or you got a job, or, you know, you're driving a fast car, or, you know, all that. So it's, and of course, you're either traveling, you're flying out, or all that. It's possible for you to easily get caught up and feel like, wow, where am I? What am I doing? And you want to prove to the world that you're doing well. I think my first year in business was a bit, I think I was just all over, you know, just like the excitement, made many mistakes. I know,
doing it all.
I wanted to prove to people that, you know, business is good, and, you know, all, even when you know where it hurts. But I think over time, I just got to the realization that, you know, I've got to be real to myself. At the end of the day, when I go home, I mean, it's only me who knows I need to pay my bills. So I think I got to a point where I realized that it's important to understand who you are, where you're at, and realizing that, you know, business will not grow, you know, to do, say, millions in 2 years or 1 year or something. You have to give it time. And any employer right now is actually an entrepreneur. And maybe their companies are actually maybe, say, 20 years or 15 years plus, and maybe they're able to actually host, say, over 300 employees and all that. That didn't happen in, you know, in 1 year. So it's something you have to give time and understand that you have to just grow and learn. So my principle is just grow, learn, and go through the process. So I think that's a place that young people nowadays are not so keen on giving themselves time on. So yeah, that's, I think, one of my greatest lessons. And then also I think another thing is learn from others. Have a mentor, you know, let them critique, because sometimes things may not be doing so well, but you're like, no, I'm going to do this. But, you know, the people who speak and they're like, you know, ideally what do you have to show? The far you've been in business, 2 years now, what can you show for it? And sometimes they may not be much, you know, maybe you just have enough, say, to pay your bills and just a bit more. So I think it's important to have people in your life who are able to speak some sense, because, you know, sometimes with the young people, we just want to do things our way. Sometimes once you have people who are like, no, you have to do this, and then thinking of the future and the things that have to come about, you have to be careful about how you the vision you have for the future and all that. So have a mentor. And then I think number 3 biggest principle or lesson I have learned is also on financial management. Because I think, and hopefully I'm trusting that this can also be a business on its own later on. Over time, you know, I have learned to manage my finances. I mean, I made mistakes in the past, in my first year and beyond. And all the same, I think over time you get to a point where you're like, wow, you start learning through. And I realize, I think I also have a passion in helping people through that, because that's something that people really, like, especially like in employment, there's this challenge of you are tied to a certain amount, and it becomes a cycle. So once you're paid, and it goes on. So I think being able to manage your finances, learning how to invest, where to invest, and having a vision, a goal for life is important. Yeah.
Now, in spite of all these setbacks, drawbacks, lessons, what would you say has been your proudest moment, your greatest achievement?
Wow. I think for me, I'm big on mentorship. I am really more about the lives that I touch. And that's one of the reasons why I got into business or into what I'm doing now, because it's really not more about me. It's really not about what I'm able to achieve. Is it possible for me to touch someone who's able to touch another person? And what I do gives me the opportunity to do that. And being able to see other people who are able to go into that space of business and going through it and being able to mentor them and help them through has been one of the things that has helped to mold me, because then at that point you're now a leader. Someone is looking up to you. So I think for me, seeing other people rise to the level that I'm at and sometimes beyond and doing better than me, you know, those humbling moments where you actually celebrate someone who's actually doing better than you and being able to still cheer them on, follow them up, and just be that person they can look up to. So that's, for me, the greatest.
Maybe one more thing. What's the dream for your business? What's the long-term vision? Where do you want to see yourself?
All right. So for me, ideally, I look into spreading out, especially in terms of clientele base, I wouldn't say I have fully maximized, because how I get my clients is basically starting from my warm market, people who I know, because then from there, building on referrals, and then also now on other people through social media and all that. So for me, I look at building my clientele base through East Africa and beyond, and then being able to have people who are able to do what I can do and beyond, like raising other leaders who can take up. And then ideally, because what I do has products, so I'm looking at this business, growing another business of, say, a line of, maybe we can have a spa, or a consultancy or something that can be able to help people and work with people through, so that it's not just a one-time sale or follow-up. Then you're able to actually have something that can build up to that. Yes.
Well, that's Jemimah Goodness, CEO of Forever Healthy, just out there trying to help you live your healthiest life. We'll not go anywhere, because we'll be right back with the quick fire round. Welcome back to Entrepreneurs Lounge, and we're going to go right into our quick fire round. Now, Dennis, Goodness, in this round, I'll ask you random trivia questions, just general random questions. The trick is to answer each question in under 30 seconds. The first person with the first correct answer gets a point, and at the end of the entire quickfire round, I'll either crown a quickfire queen or king. So the goal is to just get more correct answers than your opponent. No pressure. Ready? Quickfire question number 1. Cement is an export of Kenya. True or false?
True.
Wow. Are you into manufacturing too? That's correct. So 1 point to Goodness. Question number 2. How much is Instagram worth? The app. You can give
$1 trillion?
No. Too cold. You went too far. You don't have to get the exact figure, but you can be right within the ballpark. So how much?
50 billion?
No.
100?
Yes, $100 billion US. Okay, so that's a point to Dennis. A point to Goodness, a point to Dennis. Quickfire question number 3. Who is the richest man in Kenya by the end of 2019? Who is the richest man in Kenya right now in 2019?
Manu Chandari?
Not Kerubi, I don't know.
No. Surprisingly, it's Daniel Arap Moi with a net worth of $3 billion US. So no point to anyone. It's a tie at the moment. So this is our tiebreaker question, guys. You want to get this right. Our final quickfire question is, which movie is the biggest pre-seller in its history? Pre-seller is the key here. Which movie? It's a new movie. It's the rev of town right now.
Avengers.
Yes. Avengers what?
Avengers Endgame.
Yes. Goodness, you started so well. Okay, fine. Our quick fire king is Dennis. Give him. Goodness, you didn't do too badly. So that's it. You did well, but Dennis took this one. Well, that's it for me today on Entrepreneurs Lounge, and I hope the stories of my 2 entrepreneurs have touched deep. Jemimah Goodness, Forever Healthy, helping you live your best and healthiest life, while Managing Director Dennis Njenga of Kaka Empire, making stars out of the stars. That's it from us at Entrepreneurs Lounge. And remember, we've been shooting at Dotage Home and Exclusive Furniture in Westlands on Parklands Road. Have a very good evening.